we're not gonna. I don't think the way we're gonna do this is just kind of the way we've always done it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you don't need to say your name. You don't need to do any of that. We're just gonna put it on the screen in little text. So the first question I have for you is, how did you become involved with Smugglers Ransom?
It was kind of a roundabout way. There's a fellow that I went to church with. He said that he knew you guys and worked with Brandon, and they were making this film. And he said that you guys expressed interest in me, and he said he gave you guys my number because he knew me, and they said, you think he'd talk to us, whatever. And he warned me and said, I gave him the number, and I had him call you. He said, I didn't ask you, I wasn't sure. And I said, any friend of yours is a friend of mine. And then Brandon called me and said, I'd like you to take a look at this project. I'll email you the script, and then you can tell me if you want to do it or not. So I looked at it, and I thought, wow, this really seems interesting.
Perfect segue. My next question is, what were your initial impressions of the script?
I thought it was really good. I thought, as an actor, whenever I read dialogue or whenever I read a story, I always have initial impressions about, can I see myself in this part, doing these words, saying these words, and having it be meaningful. And when I read the script, I really enjoyed it. I thought this could be really good. And then you guys had mentioned that it was a short, and I thought, as a short, I think it might be interesting. And then it got, more involved, and I liked the script a lot. I thought it was good.
Brendan, you didn't have the question in here, but I think I remember it.
The character question.
Yeah. When you read the script, and then as you did the film, and when you were done, what were your impressions of the character of Bill Donnelly and the potential that he represented for you as an actor?
That's a good question. You mean, what were my impressions of who this man is?
And how did that affect the way you approached the part?
Well, I don't want to give away any spoilers or anything, but
Well,
I would assume that anybody that's watching this interview has already seen the movie. My impression of Bill Donnelly was that Bill Donnelly had worked hard to suppress who he really is, and doesn't really spend a whole lot of time thinking about who he is, because I think that might be a little painful. He sort of lives life through the windshield and doesn't look in the rearview mirror too much, because I've caused a lot of destruction. I don't want to look at that. So he just kind of is who he is, does what he does, because that's what he does best. And I think doesn't think that he could ever be what he wants to be, because he's too far gone. So when what happens to him, it's almost like, this is too good to be true. That I could just have a clean sweep, a complete and total pardon. It's like, I never thought that could happen. So I think it's interesting. What I think is most interesting about this character is, as he becomes a Christian, doing what he does, how that plays itself out in his life as he struggles with life, as we all do as Christians, day-to-day existence, being a disciple of Jesus Christ, and how does that relate to my actions every day and the struggles that we have and the times that we fall. And I think that's really lacking in movies today.
That's good. What was your impressions of the rest of the cast?
I thought they were great. When we did the first read-through, I was very pleasantly surprised. You look at a group of people and you think, wow, they're hitting their cues and doing their work and, taking it serious. I think that's always the danger, is that they don't take it serious. They don't commit to the work and give you 100%. So when they did that, when I saw that, I was like, oh, this will be great.
Do you have any trepidation going in about how the production would go?
Yeah. You're always a little nervous when you hear it called a student film. Sometimes there's thoughts that maybe they don't know what they're doing, or they don't have a clear vision, and it's going to be stupid, and am I going to look foolish? But you know, the first read through and first day of shooting, that was all taken care of. I mean, you guys were really, really sharp. I was very impressed.
Was this your first independent film, student film, outside the mainstream film?
No, I did one a long time ago, which actually kind of tainted every other experience I ever had. It was a student film that I read for, gosh, I can't even remember when it was, 1988 or 89, something like that. And I really liked this script, really liked it. But when we got involved in it, the woman who was the director and the writer and stuff, she got kind of into it the first day, and she just realized, I don't know what I'm doing, and it was just a disaster. And it was like a 2 or 3 day shoot, and it was like, boy, we just have to muddle our way through this. And you know, I hope whatever film we shot was burned, and because it was just terrible. I mean, it just didn't turn out to be what I thought it was going to be, and consequently, I wasn't very good myself, because I felt like whoever's at the helm here doesn't know what they're doing, so I don't know what to give. So
during the production, I kind of know the answer to this. Were there any incidents where things may have happened that went wrong? Perhaps sound wasn't connected at the right time, anything like that?
Yeah, once. That was kind of, and it was so ironic, because Brandon and I, the day we shot the scene in the warehouse, were you there? I think you might have been. Yeah, we were all talking about the Lord of the Rings bit where Sean Astin said that when they shot the scene where Frodo has to go over into the boat and dies or whatever, and they were all upset and crying, and they had to shoot that scene. And they had to do it over because there was some kind of a wardrobe malfunction. And then they had to do it again because something was out of focus, and we were laughing, and he was saying what a headache that was, because when you upset yourself and you get it and you really think you got it right and you don't want to have to go back and revisit it and do it again. And we were all laughing about it, and we shot our thing, and he called me, I think it was the next day, and I sensed something in the tone of his voice. And I was like, uh-huh. He goes, I got some bad news. And I knew immediately what he was going to tell me. And I went, no, don't tell me. And he said, yeah, we got to shoot that scene again. I was like, oh boy. But you know what? I think we did it better. So it was good that it happened that way.
How did you feel about the more guerrilla style of filmmaking that was employed in this film?
I liked it. I mean, I loved it. Anytime you're working and it's good, I mean, it's great. You know, like Sean Connery. I think Sean Connery said, when you're working and it's good, it's really good. But when you're working and it's bad, it's like shoveling manure uphill. But he didn't use the word manure. He used a much more colorful metaphor. But I just think it's great when you go out and it's just you and 2 or 3 other people, and you go out and find a location and say, go do this, and you're completely unencumbered by any other person's vision or anything. You get the shot and you pack up and you leave. It doesn't get any better than that.
Did you feel any pressure to sort of carry the film, since your character was really the only one whose presence was felt throughout the whole picture?
Oddly enough, I didn't, for some reason. I just kind of took it scene by scene. I relied pretty heavily on you for that, in terms of letting each scene play the way it did. And when if you were happy with it, then I just kind of thought we're getting the progress that we need. And I didn't really, maybe I should have, but I didn't see it as the thing that I had to carry. I just looked at it as an ensemble piece. Everybody has to do their job, and if everybody's doing their job, it'll be a good piece, a good picture.
My favorite question. Anything to say about the 2 bozos who directed the picture?
This has been the low point of my career, actually. No, I'm messing with you both. No, you guys, I have to say, I was very impressed from day one about not only your professionalism, but just the clarity of vision that you have for this piece. You know what you wanted. You were absolutely confident in what you wanted, and you got it from everybody that you were working with. I mean, I was really very impressed with you guys. Really know what you're doing. You just have to remember me when you're big stars and put me in all your movies now.
We remember you all the time. How did you feel about the environment on the set? Were there any problems, or not even problems, maybe just issues, whatever, with cast and crew, people you worked with?
No, everybody got along really well. I mean, it's always a novelty when you work on a set and everybody prays before dinner. That's always wonderful. You don't get that very often. But aside from that, just, you know, form a kind of a brotherhood with everybody that you're working with. You sort of have to do that. I don't see how people can work. I've heard stories about conflict on the set. I can't work in that kind of environment. And, you know, for us, it was smooth sailing the whole way. Everybody got along, everybody did their job, and, you know, it was pretty smooth.
Brandon, do you have anything you want to add?
No, I've got. I don't know. Do you have anything in your mind?
In my mind? Oh,
Yeah, in your
I don't
mind.
know what's in my mind.
Ask me what my favorite part of the movie
Yeah,
was.
what's your favorite part of the movie?
My favorite moment in the film takes place. Well, there's actually two favorites because I haven't seen the whole thing cut together yet. But I like the opening sequence. That to me is a very visually stunning piece. But my favorite moment with me in it, as the performer, takes place in the warehouse where Carmen's running through the warehouse trying to escape from Ninjka, and she's backing away amongst some crates or something, and she runs into me and she thinks it's him and she screams, and I put my hand over her mouth or something, and I tell her that I have to go and, you know, here's the locator, and take the gun just in case, and she doesn't want to take it, and I say, look, I'll be right back. And then right before I leave, I kind of grab her and I kissed her on the side of the head, and I leave. And to me, that was kind of a moment that we discovered in the moment, and for some reason it was just real touching to me because it spoke volumes to me as the performer of what just happened to this man. Because before that, he was kind of hard on this young woman. He's calling her a hypocrite and criticizing the Bible. And then as a result of her sort of reintroducing him to Jesus, his life is radically changed for the better. So that was sort of his little way of saying thank you to her. You know, something wonderful has happened to me, and you were kind of part of it. So that was his little way right before he left, just in case something did happen to him, of saying thank you to her. And I just thought that was a touching moment.
Well, I'll follow up on that. What was your least favorite point?
When Brandon called me and said we had to shoot that scene again. No, I'm kidding. I didn't have a least favorite moment. I mean, usually when you're working, a least favorite moment is a scene that you look at and you say, I could have done better there. I want to go back and redo it. But since I have not yet seen the finished product yet, I can't say that about anything. I mean, I don't necessarily know if I have a least favorite moment.
We've only recorded 14 minutes, man. We got to.
Let's do more. I was thinking about.
Just tough.
I was thinking about. You had mentioned something before about Christian movies, and it always. I don't want to say bothers me. I want to be real careful because I don't want to sound like I'm critical or anything like that. But it always bugs me when I hear that description: Christian movie, Christian music. You know, because it just, to me, it's like, what does that mean? I mean, does that mean it only appeals to Christians? Because I don't think it should be that way. We don't do that with any other profession. We don't say that so and so is a Christian lawyer or a Christian doctor. You know, we only operate on Christian people. I mean, it seems to me that that's like a hang-up that the family of God has about the arts, regarding the arts. You know, that we have to baptize it with that name, Christian movie. Otherwise, it's just, if we don't give it that name, it's inherently sinful or evil. And I just don't think it should be that way because, I mean, our God is the one that created storytelling. You know, I think filmmakers who are Christians should be the best storytellers. I think Christian filmmakers, writers, whatever, that their movies should appeal to everyone. I mean, you look at the parables that Jesus told, the stories that Jesus told appealed not just to his disciples, but to everyone. People flocked to hear Jesus speak. And his stories contained I mean, they were a heavenly story, or his stories contained a heavenly truth wrapped up in an earthly story. And his story, I love the parable of the prodigal son. It was greed and riotous living and jealousy between brothers and compassion of a father, and it had so many things that appealed to so many people. It wasn't just an evangelistic story necessarily. I mean, it had things in there that I thought were very dynamic. So I think that our movie, I hate to say our movies, but filmmakers who are Christians should make movies that appeal to everyone. Because Christian people go to see, we call secular movies, but it seems to me that Christian movies only appeal to Christians. They use words and subjects and language that only Christians can relate to, and I just don't think it should be that way. And again, I think it's because that the family of God has hang-ups about the arts.
How do you feel Smugglers does on that element? Like, do you think it might risk being too Christian in its focus, that it won't be accessible by non-believers?
I don't think so, because I don't think there's anything wrong with Christian movies. I certainly wouldn't think that in today's day, in today's day and age, with all the technology that we have, you can certainly use film as an evangelistic tool. I just don't know if I would always go to a movie to get my lessons in theology. I don't know if that's the proper place for it. I mean, maybe it can be used that way. Maybe it can be used that way in a tremendous way. Obviously, with the Passion of the Christ, it affected a lot of people. But with Smuggler's Ransom, I don't look at it as a Christian movie. So, when you say Christian movie, I think it means something to people. That it's an evangelistic movie, or it's a movie about Jesus. I think that Smuggler's Ransom, what I like about it, is that it's a movie where, the main character is affected by the gospel. And I think something happens to him that he does not intend. And, I think that's powerful. I think that could appeal to a very broad audience, not just Christians. When you see an unbeliever become converted, that's not just something that Christians can relate to. That's anybody can relate to. I mean, watch it and say, "Wow, that was powerful. That powerful emotion."
Yeah, our composer, believe it or not, early on when we went to him on it, he made a comment. Brandon got the comment. I don't know, paraphrasing. I think it was something like he was made a little uncomfortable by some of the religious scenes, and then when he got to composing the conversion scene, he thought we should shorten it. We should do something, and I guess he said he was at a loss. He didn't know what to do with it. So I wrote him this really long email, kind of explaining my view of the scene to him. And when I was done, he's like, "Oh, I can do that. I get that."
Mm-hmm.
And the piece he did was absolutely amazing.
Really?
I think so, yeah. Because the direction he was going to go was definitely the wrong direction. He was thinking like violins, and I was like, I said, stay away from heavenly sounds. I said,
right.
Stay away from anything that sounds heavenly. I said, I said, keep it grounded, like on earth. I said, use piano, keep it hard, kind of gritty to it, and this kind of sparse light. Mm-hmm. And he totally hit it on the head. But I thought it was interesting that initially he had a hard time seeing past kind of, I think, his preconceptions. I don't think he was so much seeing the scene and being put off by, the Christianity of it, but I think he had a preconception of Christianity and what a conversion scene was, and he had to get past that. Do you think that maybe Smugglers has a potential to help people get past that kind of preconceived, not even realistic view of Christianity?
I hope so, because it seems to me in a lot of Christian pieces, the characters are wooden. I mean, I was at the Christian bookstore the other day. I don't remember what I was buying, cards or something, and they were playing a trailer to some piece on the TV screen, and I mean, I'm a Christian, and it just, when I was watching it, I was like, why do they have to use dialogue like that just seems like it only relates to Christian, like only a Christian can watch this and relate to it. And talking about, oh, God's timing and God's will, and that's the best for, I mean, just all things that we say as a Christian. You read the Bible and it talks about God's will and so forth, but it just seems fake to me. And what I liked about this particular piece is that you see a man broken who breaks down and really just comes out. I mean, he says that his mother was a Christian, but he never bought it for a minute, and his heart had become hardened and so forth about those things. And when he really truly breaks and just asks in just pure desperation, hopefully we've succeeded in making it real and not cardboard. I mean, one of my favorite scenes in the movies is in It's a Wonderful Life, where James Stewart in the bar when it's all different, or I'm not sure if it's different at that time. No, he prays, and he doesn't know what he's doing, but it's a moment where he's just a man who's at the end of his rope. He's desperate, and he says a prayer, and I mean, it's just human drama. What's not to like about that? I mean, he says God, and doesn't necessarily, say the right prayer and pray the sinner's prayer, but I mean, he just calls out to God, and I mean, that's just good drama. Now, who couldn't relate to that moment? I mean, it seems like sometimes only when you're broken can you truly relate to being broken, but that's one of the beauties about drama, is that when you're watching someone who's truly broken, hopefully it affects you. It makes you think about, hopefully maybe the message of Jesus Christ. And
there was a story in the LA Times about that scene in Wonderful Life about 2 weeks ago. Did you see it?
Mm-mm.
That scene was messed up when they shot it, believe it or not. They apparently Stewart was told it was going to be a close-up. It was going to be a close-up, and it was actually like a wider, kind of more master shot. And so he poured out his performance, and not realizing that they really weren't getting a lot of it, that they were back here.
Right.
And then when I think like the DP had set it up, so the director found out it wasn't a close-up. They asked her, "Could you do it again?" He's like, "I can't do it again. I'm totally wasted."
Right.
So they went in the 30s or 40s, I mean, and they took the frames and they blew it up manually, so that they could get the close-up out of that master shot. So it's a little grainy, if you watch it now.
Yeah, but it works so wonderfully when you watch that scene, because first of all, I mean, you love the character of George Bailey so much that whatever he's going through, it affects you. So if we've succeeded in this piece with that, then the audience is going to go with us on the ride. If they don't care about the characters, it doesn't matter what happens to the characters. They could come to Christ, they could be massacred. It doesn't matter. It's like I don't like this piece, but hopefully, we'll succeed, and the people will like the characters.
Well, with the characters, I watched the cut today actually, and one thing that struck me this time, or it didn't struck me before, was we opened the movie and Bill was killing some people,
Mm-hmm.
a gun and was shot, and then we end the movie and he decides not to kill someone.
Mm-hmm.
And it struck me just today how much of a character journey we saw just in the course of the movie. My mom, for whatever reason, always walks in at one point when you're in the Lubinkoff's apartment. And she's seen the opening of the movie, so whenever she sees that scene, she's done it twice, totally forgets that she's seen it before. She always asks me, is he going to kill him? She just assumes the character's going to shoot this guy.
Mm-hmm.
Because she, after watching that first scene, just believes that the character is completely amoral and completely, kind of, I don't know what the word is, but she just expects him to do that. And when she reacted that way, I was really happy, because hopefully then at the end people will understand. They'll see the difference.
Well, I wonder now, I look back and I wonder if we should have
Had you shoot him?
killed him. because I think there was really no reason to leave him alive. He'd seen my face. Obviously, I was trying to extract information from him. Once I get my information, there's no real reason to leave him living.
But if your reputation is one that you kill your sources, people won't be as inclined to help you.
Yeah, and that's why he says, here's some money and here's a passport, go to this town and you'll find money. So there was no motivation really to kill him either, because I don't think Donnelly's
He's not
absolutely ruthless. He's not that far gone. He only kills when necessary, when absolutely, there's a threat, and I don't think Lubenkopf was a threat, so to speak, because I don't think there was any real retaliation from him.
Well, the only thing that ended up happening was Lubenkopf was captured, and that's how they knew you were coming.
Right.
Maybe you should have killed him.
Right, and that would have been.
But why was he sitting there doing nothing when he should have been leaving? I don't know.
Yeah.
I put the scene in there. It doesn't matter.
Yeah. Who cares? It works. Who cares? And that was a good scene too. I enjoyed working with Foz. Was his name Foz? He was real good. He was really enjoyable.
Yeah.
What's your favorite scene in the movie? What's your favorite moment?
I've seen it too much. My favorite moment.
Are you serious? You've seen it too much?
I'm into I feel like I'm so
Well, there's got to be a movie. I mean, there's a few movies that I watch that no matter what, I could see it 100 times, and it doesn't matter. This particular moment, I could watch it over and over and over, and I just think it's just as powerful as the first time I saw it. Is there a moment like that? Is there a moment that touches you that you say, "Gosh, I just love that bit"?
Well, I tell you what, just the last few days, because now that it's done, I've been watching from about right before the garage door opens at the end. So I guess when she's got the gun, and then she goes from there to the end, I kind of watched it again and again. Not because right now it's technically perfect. There's really no issues that have to be sorted out, but something about the way he works the music, and also what I like in my movies when I can do it, is conveying something, hopefully the main point, but if not, whatever, without words. Words are great. I'm a writer, so I love words. But if I can do it without words, to me, that's success. I've hit the mark. If I have to tell you, I'm compromising.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a lot of talking in this movie by its very nature, and that's fun, and I like it. But I feel like it all has to lead to the payoff, and the payoff is the ending. The payoff is the result, of what happens at the end. And I've actually, in another student film I made a long time ago, I had a very similar scene where there's a fight, and then he's going to kill him, and he has to restrain himself. But it's done through dialogue, and the guy comes up and they have a conversation, and
and they were just supremely frustrated with the way that things were working as police officers. And he was tempted to just quit and say, I'm not going to be a police officer and stuff. But at the end of the movie, they finally get the guy. They have him dead to rights. They've got him, and Elliot Gould's character chases him out, and he's got him on the gun. He's got the gun on him. He's like, freeze, and the guy's laughing. He's like, you think you got me? And then it's a close-up on Elliot Gould, and it just kind of pans in slowly on his face, and he's there like this, and the guy's saying, I'm going to be out in a week, or I'll be out in tomorrow morning, and you'll just have to start all over again. So he's just got the gun on him, and all of a sudden you hear that guy's voice kind of fade out, and then you hear Elliot Gould's voice saying something about how he's quitting the police force and he doesn't want to do it anymore. But all you hear is a voiceover and a close-up on his face, and then that's how the movie ends. And you realize he'd had it. He quits the force. But to end the movie on that close-up like that, it was like, oh, that's kind of an interesting.
Was that movie made in the 70s?
I think so.
That sounds like the 70s.
Yeah, 70, 74, 75, something like that.
70s.
Yeah, 70s.
Oh, yeah. Growing up, those kind of movies, they always grated on me. It's like, now I see it, it's a totally legitimate way to end the film. But
right.
For a kid, it's just like,
yeah,
it's cheap,
Yeah.
And so endings are big. They're big things. Like for me, the two biggest things I think about: first shot, last shot.
Mm-hmm.
What's the first shot of the movie? then the first scene, of course, and then it's the last shot of the movie. If I know that, that tells me it tells me everything. It's the tone of the movie. Where's it going? Is it sad? Is it happy? Start. You know, and from there we can make the rest.
Is the first scene still him running through?
First scene? Yeah.
The first shot. I mean,
the first live action shot. It actually opens with text. I don't know if you even saw that. We added text because we had the movie which originally started with the graphic and the voiceover, and then we realized that if I was like 12-year-old or 14-year-old, I might not know anything about the Cold War. I might be totally lost. There's nothing here that explains the context. So we added a little text prologue just explaining basically the Cold War in 5 little sentences. There's this guy, they're fighting. It's been years. There's spies. I don't remember exactly. And then we fade into the graphic, and so hopefully that'll catch everybody at the speed. I like it because I think it gives you this, even for an adult, it lets you like stop and kind of take yourself back, and kind of, okay, I know we're going back to the 80s, because it really didn't say until after the map, and so it was kind of confusing. Like, okay, if you just came at it blank, it was like. So then we have the graphic, we have your voiceover, and then the running, going to the running. So the first shot of the first live action play shot of the film is him running on the street.
Yeah,
the title.
I thought that was a great shot.
Yeah, that was a pretty sweet shot.
Pretty sweet shot.
We went out and shot it, and we have it on the documentary footage. After we got that shot, which was him basically standing out of a car.
Yeah, you showed it to me.
You showed it to me, okay. Yeah. And we were just like, this looks like a helicopter shot. How did we get the shot?
Yeah.
How did we get the shot?
It was great.
It was totally, that was, again, one of those things where we just went out, there were 5 of us, enough to fill a car, and we just...
There's actually 4 of us.
No, there was 5. It was Matt driving, you're right, 4 of us.
Francis Coppola said something, I remember, did you ever see the documentary Hearts of Darkness?
No, I've started it when I never seen it.
Well, you should watch it until the end. I mean, if you don't see anything other than the end of the film, because him and George Lucas were all about just getting in the car, taking the camera, and going to make a movie. And he said something about, the film industry, some 12-year-old kid is going to pick up a camera, and he's going to, and I wish I could remember the exact quote, but he said he's going to do something that's brilliant, and he's going to revolutionize the film industry, And I think that's what it's all about, getting in a car, taking your camera out somewhere, and doing something, and if it's good, it's good. It doesn't have to be a big budget. It doesn't have to cost $12 million to get a shot, Just take like you've got this digital camera, go out and shoot a shot, and then you just come, that's fantastic. Looks like we're in a helicopter flying low over the thing. Who knows the difference? I mean, if it looks great, visually stunning, it's great. I mean, look at Rocky. Rocky was shot at under $1 million, and it was a phenomenal movie.
That was beautiful, beautiful day, beautiful. It was definitely God smiling.
Yeah, I was pretty impressed with that show. When you showed it, I was like, man, that looks really good. I wish I was the one,
Exactly. Well, actually, no offense to you, but he probably couldn't handle it. We ran Jake into the ground.
Yeah, I bet.
He's very good shape, but he was worn out. Because we ran him down the road 3 times alone.
Yeah.
And then we went into the desert and had him run some more.
Right.
He's running at car speed, 40 miles an hour.
Yeah.
He was booking. And that was, and he was under the mask and the suit. We were actually saying at the time, we were like, thank God it's not Tony up there.
Yeah.
He can do it.
Yeah, because there's like 120 out there.
Well, it wasn't hot out.
Actually,
it wasn't?
Was it? Evening. So
okay.
the temperature was nice. But
like 60-something.
He was in a lot of clothes. I was wearing shorts still.
Yeah.
He was still sweating after.
Yeah.
The sweater and the pants and the boots and the gloves, not gloves. But,
yeah, that's a good shot though.
But hopefully no one will realize it's not you. They'll think it was you. And,
who's going to know?
No one's going to know.
People don't even know the airport's not in Los Angeles.
Which is kind of obvious. But
yeah, really.
No trees around.
Yeah. So that's, with the end of the film, are you happy with it?
It's my favorite. I'm extremely happy with the end of the film. Yeah. I'm extremely happy. I wish the film was longer. like if there was one thing I could change about it now, I would go. I would write more. I would somehow. The thing is, I don't know what I do. It's not like I can go back and say, there's got to be a scene here. It's not like there's something missing that thank God there's nothing missing that I look at and I go, oh my goodness, we forgot that,
Mm-hmm.
But I just wish it could be, somebody, we showed it, a friend of mine, my roommate, took a look at it. He was like, it's not, he said it doesn't feel long, which is good. It feels well paced, it's not that long of a film, it's 45 minutes.
Oh, it's not 70 minutes now?
No, it's not 70 minutes. We wish.
Because I think you had said before it was at 70 and you cut it down.
That was really rough.
That was a projection. That was like projection based off of the
scenes that we had edited. Yeah.
No, it's down to 45.
It's down to 45.
And it's good for. I mean, it's a good length because it's paced well. You know, like again, being so close to it, it's hard to say. But if I were watching it, I don't think I could tell you how long it was. Like if I had no reference.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't feel like a long movie, but it doesn't necessarily feel like a short movie.
Well, I mean, it's as long as a TV show.
Yeah, it's not a TV
45 minutes.
Certainly more happens in it than a regular like what happened normally in an hour of television.
Yeah.
It's a problem I have. I tend to write short. I mean, like we did A Price Too High, which was 10 minutes, and we did I showed it to somebody who was worked at AFI for a long time, and he was like, it's got a beginning, a middle, and the end, but it's only 10 minutes long.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, it's not like it feels short. It's just like you gotta make it longer.
Mm-hmm.
No reason, just gotta make it longer.
Mm-hmm.
And so I feel like kind of like gotta think longer. So which leads me to one question I forgot about. What would be your feeling or interest in A Smuggler's Ransom 2?
It depends on the story. You had mentioned something about my boss doing some kind of a renegade mission and is out there, and I have to go get her and bring her in. And I thought, that sounds like an interesting project. I actually thought it would be really cool if she goes so completely renegade that she forces me to have to take her down. And then it comes out that he loves her and didn't want to do it but had to. And then, you know, the brokenness that he feels for her, as you know, I thought that would be an interesting story.
I wasn't going to have to kill her. Take into consideration.
I mean, because I think she's a good actress. I think she's really good. I think she's got a real presence to her, and I think it would be really neat to see that, to where she's really so renegade that she snaps and won't come in and won't give up. That she crosses the line so far that she's got to be taken down. I thought that would be a cool story. That would be an interesting story to do.
And I don't think of that. I've started writing the script, I'll tell you.
Oh, yeah.
I have. I'm on page 22. I've gotten to the meat of the story, but it's definitely a longer script.
Is it?
Yeah, I'm nowhere near done. Easily 100 pages. Not more. I wasn't going to have her go that renegade. I will think about that.
It's an option, you know.
Oh, I will. I mean, I've had a lot of fun with it because I've, especially in the first 18 pages, I really don't bring in the kind of the main thrust of the plot. You know, I've got you. I have the opening scene, which I won't tell you about because it's a surprise, but kind of sets up the actual kind of plot of the movie. And then I've got you and Chase in a scene that I absolutely love because there's really not a lot of dialogue. It's a lot of her being kind of frustrated and like, basically, I can't believe this is happening. And a lot of you going, what do you want me to tell you?
What, you can't believe what's happening?
Well, he basically, before we cut in, you've told her that not that you're getting out so much as the experience you had on the trip. You know, told her, and she's completely like, I don't believe this. You know, this is just, you know. I don't. You know, it's funny because I never have you say like, it's never said that somehow being a Christian you wouldn't do it, but everyone kind of assumes. You know, all the other people kind of assume, oh great, he's gonna be useless. He's good for nothing. You know? And so I have you telling her that she doesn't want you to take the vacation. Of course, she wants you to do this other thing, and you're like, I can't, not now. I need time, you know, to go think. You know, because the one idea I had coming out of the first one was the fact that you just became a Christian. Well, where do you go from there? I mean, you know, sure, the initial thing is great, but what then? You know, most people, they do whatever. They join a discipleship program somewhere. You don't have that. You know.
Yeah, a lot of people are not. I mean, my experience as a Christian, when I first became a Christian, I was very unsanctified for years, it seemed, you know. I actually had a phone conversation of myself taped not by myself. It was sort of inadvertently taped, and I listened to myself speaking, and I thought, I was a Christian at this point, and the things that were coming out of my mouth, I was offended at myself. And I went, holy cow. That's amazing that it took, you know, I mean, not everybody is delivered from patterns of sin immediately. You know, that's what I think would be really interesting to see in this character, the struggle against a life that he's lived. You know, the old Bill Donnelly is still so ever present. To immediately become, you know, a disciple seems unrealistic, especially for somebody like that. I mean, it can happen, but certainly, you know, in other people's experience, it doesn't happen overnight. You know, so it would be completely realistic to say, I need to go sort this out. I need to go find out what this is. Something's got a hold of me here, and you know, I need to understand it a little bit better and you know, see where I'm headed.
I'll when the script's done, I'm going to put it through at least another draft before I declare it even ready to show anybody. But I'll definitely want you to look at it.
Now, is this based on the other books that were?
It's based off the second book, yeah.
How many are there?
3.
3.
It's, you know, I think it's not. I mean, it definitely departs from the second one much more than, say, this one departed from the first one.
It's much more loosely based.
Much more loosely based.
No,
I think
okay.
I kept the. I don't know. Did I keep anything?
Now, how are you?
Kept the Bahamas.
Kept the Bahamas.
Yeah. How are you able to loosely base? I mean, do you have the rights to these, or has he given up the rights to them?
I don't have the rights to the second one. Yeah, as of yet.
Oh, okay.
We have the first one. We have the rights to the first one.
Have you shown this?
This
What's his
not
name?
the
Steve.
film.
Steve.
Yeah.
Have you shown him the movie?
Not the film, no.
I haven't shown him.
He saw the script. Did he have
Trailer.
approval on the script?
Yeah.
He had approval on the script. And he approved it. Which was, for me, was I was kind of taking a deep breath because I did rewrite the ending.
Mhm.
He liked the ending better, actually.
Yeah, he loved it.
What happened in the original ending?
Basically, you guys go to a safe house. You don't go to a warehouse. You go to a safe house. There's a conversation kind of similar between the two. There was everything happens through the conversion scene, very similar. And then Nitschke shows up. There's dialogue. Basically, somehow you punch him out, take the gun, and it just kind of happens. There's no
Movement.
hiding. There's no hostage. I added all of that. And no,
Okay.
none of that. There's really the one thing I felt was if the drama is whether or not you're going to kill him, there was absolutely no reason to kill him. And in my opinion, as felt in the original draft,
Okay.
and also maybe for the character of Donnelly, but not for the audience. Like personally, I hope the audience kind of wants you to kill him. But, you know, I want the audience to kind of feel a sense of restraint. I don't want them to feel like, no, don't kill him. Because then it's like, that's just not as much as that's not the reaction I want, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But that wouldn't have been possible to me. It would have been like, you know, because even one thing is interesting, even in like, you know, what we call secular movies, there is this sense of the hero can't just kill. You know, the hero has to, you know, whatever.
You didn't have to do that, you know. You didn't have to kill him. He was out. He was gone. You know. There's always that moment of compassion from the audience to say, "Don't kill him." But if you do cross that line, they go with you a little bit, but they're offended. You know?
Yeah.
They're offended. They're offended by it.
So but I would, if we get the opportunity to do the sequel, I mean, you know, assuming all the, and I'm getting the thing with what I love about Steve Losey is the author. You know, his goal, and he's told this to us, is, you know, he wrote Smugglers originally as basically as an evangelistic piece, you know, and he just wants people to experience it and to, you know, let it impact them. Now he's totally hands off, and you know he basically. Personally, I think it comes from the fact that I think he trusts God that, you know, it's going to be done in such a way that it'll bear fruit, you know. And so working with him has been really great because he's been totally hands off, you know. And I think I may mention this to you. My dad directed the play many years ago, and he told me that Steve was the same way then. That Steve, you know, he had directed it before and written it before. He stayed away from the set. He was totally, you guys do it your way. And I think that shows a lot of I don't know, wisdom. generosity. I don't know.
No, it's, you know, I mean, when you're a author and you write a book and you give the filmmaker the chance to go do the piece, I mean, it's like now it's his turn to tell the story, and most writers get paid off to be hands off. You know, Stephen King is supposedly very cool about that. Say, yeah, go make your movie and tell your story and do what you want with it. You know, which is cool, but he gets money for it. You know, if you're really close to the piece, as like Steve probably is, you know, it's probably a little bit of restraint to say, what are they doing with it? How are they tweaking it? You know.
Well, I know if we do get to do more, I definitely would want to see Steve get something.
I think it helps that you guys are Christians as well, that you're going to handle the material in a way that honors God. And,
well, as an example of something that didn't go that way, I don't know, you've probably heard of the movie by now, Children of Men. It's based off a book, Children of Men, which was written by a Christian. And I picked up the book. We saw the movie a few weeks ago, and it was very good, but I picked up the book at Target just to kind of see, you know, what it was. And there were a ton of references to Christianity in this book, a ton of references. And there were none in the film at all. You know,
that doesn't surprise me.
No, it doesn't surprise me at all. But I don't know. Like, I don't know what the deal was. I don't know. Maybe they just, you know, they bought the rights free and clear. I don't know. But it's what a shame because it's a very good movie, and you know, the story was very good concept. And I felt kind of ashamed that why couldn't Christians take it and do it well? I don't know why.
Why did seculars have to do it?
They don't. I mean, you know.
Yeah, that bothers me because I think Christians have lost the arts because of their attitude toward it. All you got to do is go back to the Bible and look at. I mean, God put His Spirit on craftsmen when they were building the temple to make certain things for the temple and do it well. And they said that at one point in the Bible it says they carved a rose for beauty's sake because it was pretty. They put it there, you know. I mean, the arts. For some reason, I don't know. Maybe it's a carryover from fundamentalism or something. We just think the arts are inherently sinful, you know. Or if it is something in the arts, it has to be a Bible piece, or it has to be a hymn of praise. It can't just be a beautiful song saying something true about the world. I mean, I just don't understand that. I mean, to a certain degree, I understand that, you know, because we've backed away from the arts, now it's just complete secular, you know, no mention of God or anything. A perfect case in point is, you guys know the Christmas Carol? You know, the Alistair Sim version? I think it was like 1951 or something like that. If you go back and watch that version, there is so many references to Christ and the Bible. But any versions that have been made since then are modern. There's nothing in it about that at all. And I have not read Dickens' novel or short story, A Christmas Carol. So I don't know if there's anything in the actual story, but I know that in that version there was. So, and it bugs me that Christian filmmakers or filmmakers who are Christians don't make movies that appeal to, you know, the masses. You know, I mean, when Steven Spielberg makes a movie, they don't call it a Jewish movie. It's just a movie. And I think Christian people who are filmmakers should be the best filmmakers. Those should be the best films, the best stories, the best screenplays. You know, the ones that are crafted the best. That's what I think. Because I know there's a market out there. Christians are dying to go see movies. You know? It just seems like they just don't either have the desire or have the budgets for it, I guess. I don't know.
Well, the money's, you know, money's there because there are a lot of, you know, rich Christians who would be interested in that. But I think the expectations are so low that anybody who's good is not going to go to it.
What do you mean?
Well, like anyone who's got some serious talent, I think, is going to try to make it in the secular market.
Oh, right.
They're not going to risk their career, basically.
Right.
Being labeled Christian filmmaker, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's the biggest obstacle. Because if, you know, as a filmmaker, to me, that would be the thing I would worry about. You know, so what if I'm good? If nobody watches it, and then I get labeled a Christian filmmaker. Not gonna work yet, you know.
Why do you have to be labeled a Christian filmmaker? I mean, why does it
Well,
have
you
to
don't.
be
I mean, you don't have to be.
Yeah.
But what if? You know, what if that's just how you get labeled? You know,
Mhm.
you can't control that.
But I think if you make a movie that's just a great movie, I mean, why does it have to be an evangelistic movie? Because it seems so often when Christians make movies, it has to either be one of the Left Behind series, or it has to be a story that comes out of the Bible. I mean, why can't it just be something true about the world? I mean, saying something true about life. You know, It's a Wonderful Life was just a great story of human drama. It wasn't necessarily a Christian movie. I don't think Frank Capra was a Christian, but it was just a great story. Why can't Christians who are filmmakers make movies like that? And have them be wonderful and appeal to everyone and not be concerned about necessarily evangelism. I don't know. Because I always think about, movies as evangelistic tools. I mean, Jesus and his disciples preached to people, and they were one-on-one. I mean, they went 2 by 2 and so forth, and they just preached and talked with people. And they certainly had enough people to form a troupe, a theater troupe, if they wanted to put on drama plays and preach the gospel that way, but they didn't. So I don't think movies have to be necessarily evangelistic tools. And that's why, it bothers me to hear Christian music and Christian books. It's like, why does it have to be labeled Christian? Why can't it just be, this guy's a great author, but he's a Christian too, I don't know. What?
Amen.
Amen.
Let that be the world.
Right. I mean, have you guys tried to, have you tried to sell this? I mean, have you tried to like...
We're kind of really getting into that right now.
Mm-hmm.
We got turned down at Fox Faith because it's too short to be a theatrical
Mhm.
release. We did actually just send a thing off to the guys who produced Left Behind, and they want to see the movie. So that should be nice. They like the trailer and everything. Some other Christian companies want to see the trailer. The thing with the Christian distribution market is it's on the record. And don't tell anybody this.